Okay, welcome back to class. Today we're going to go over how to find the area of some common two-dimensional figures. So let's just go ahead and get right into that. The first two-dimensional figure that we're going to go over is the area of a rectangle. And when I say two-dimensional, dimensions are ways that we can measure or directions that we can measure. So here, if I'm looking at my shaded area, the ways that I could measure would be either left and right and up and down. So that means it's a 2D, two-dimensional figure. So when we're finding the area of two-dimensional figures, this figure here in the middle, this shaded part, each one of these boxes is a unit. So we want to know how many boxes are filled or taken up. That's the kind of question that you're going to get with area. How many boxes are filled or taken up? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's one way. So we would say that this is 9 units. That's the area. The total area of this would be 9 units. I just say units because I really don't know what they're measuring by. We could be measuring by feet, by yards, inches. So if you don't have a unit, a specific unit, you can just use the word unit. Here we have another rectangle, shaded. And we want to know, the first question is how many rows are filled? So first of all, rows go across like a bench. They go across like a bench. So if this were my bench, how many rows can I get out of this rectangle? So I got 1 there, 2 there, that's 3 rows. So the answer to that would be 3. Columns go up and down like this beam. This beam is also called a column. So that's how you can tell the difference between rows and column. Rows are like benches. Columns are like these beams. So I have 1 column, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So what is the relationship between the number of columns in rows and the area? Remember, the area is each one of these boxes. The rows are what go left to right, and the columns are what go up and down. So we already said we have 3 rows and 6 columns. If I counted each one of these boxes, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That would give me an area of 18. So what is a shortcut to this? Rather than having to count each of the individual boxes, we can just use multiplication to find the area by multiplying the number of rows by the number of columns. So I can easily find the area by saying 3 rows, each row had 6 columns, so that gives me a total of 18 units. Remember, we don't know. So again, a quick shortcut would be just to take the base, which would be our what it lays on. This is the base of the rectangle, so that would be our columns, right? Times the height, and the height is the rows, how high it is. The base times the height. So this is what this formula means. Area is equal to, didn't put that X. area is equal to the base times the height of a rectangular figure, a four-sided figure. Another four-sided figure, which is still two-dimensional, would be a parallelogram. Parallelogram looks like this with slanted sides. Now, if you cut a triangle off of this at a 90-degree angle here, if you cut a right triangle and you slid it over here to this side, what figure would you have? What kind of figure would you have? You would have a rectangle. So therefore, the area of a rectangle, the area of the parallelogram are the same. So an area of a parallelogram, again, is base times height. Now you have to be careful with parallelograms because a lot of times some of us want to take this side over here and think that that is the height. No, the height would be the line that makes the 90-degree angle. So this line makes a 90-degree angle with the base. So this is the height. So you're going to take whatever this number is times this number. Because remember, the area is equal to the base times the height. Purple line times the red line, not the green line. Now what about the area of a triangle? A triangle is a three-sided figure. So we can't say base times height because you don't know which is the base or which is the height, which side, since it's only three sides. But what shape do you get when you get two triangles put together? When there's two triangles and we put them together, forms a rectangle. Correct? We know that the area of a rectangle is base times height, correct? However, a triangle would only be half of that. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. Okay, so let's practice that. We have three two-dimensional figures, A, B, and C. And what I would like you to do is pause and tell me which formula would we use for each of these figures. Okay, so this is what your answers should have been. If you got them all correct, good job. Okay, two more examples. Now I actually gave you numbers and units, and I would like for you to see if you can figure out what the area is. Okay, for the first parallelogram, we know that the area is going to be the base times the height. This one is the base, but we don't know what that, it doesn't say what it is. However, with the parallelogram, one side is congruent to the other, the one directly across from it. So since this side is 12 inches, that means this side is also 12 inches. So there, we figured out our base, which is 12 inches. Our height is 7 inches. So to figure out the area of that, we go area is base times height. So that means area is 12 times 7. So the area is 84 inches squared. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that your units are always going to be squared. Make sure they're always written in square units. This lets us know it's a two-dimensional figure. All right, so the other, here we have 5 centimeters by 8 centimeters. However, this is a triangle, so it's going to be slightly different, the formula. Remember, two triangles make a rectangle, so we know the area of a rectangle is base times height. So since I'm only doing one of the triangles, it's going to be half of that, which is 1/2 times 8 times 5 gives me 20 centimeters squared. Now in these examples, this first one, we don't have a right triangle anymore. However, the height of this will be where the vertex forms a right angle. If I draw that line from the vertex to the opposite side where I get a right angle, that lets me know that this is the height. Okay? So this is the height. And the height is 7 inches. The base would be the total base here. So this is 4. So I'm going to multiply in order to find the area of this. Area is going to equal 1/2 times the base times the height. So the base times the height is 28, and half of that would be 14. So the area of this entire triangle is 14 inches squared, or 14 square inches. You could say it either way. Over here, we have a rectangle, so we have to use the correct formula, which would be the area of a rectangle is equal to the base times the height. So what does that give us for our answer? Well, base times height would give us 128 centimeters squared.